Jody and I are cycling buddies. I know her from the cycling community, got to meet her that way, and then learned about that she's a chiropractor and many more things, as you can see on her website, teaches Ashtanga yoga. And I know that she's very, very excited to give us some coping strategies today during COVID-19 as to what you can do at home, things that you can do to relieve the stress that a lot of us are feeling. So that is what I wanted to say about Jody. And maybe I'll unmute everyone and we can all say hi to each other because it's not a very large group. So I'm just going to, I don't know how I do that, but I don't know if I'm breaking any rules here. Colleen, you're unmuted. And Michelle?
Hi, thanks, Charles. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think we have to unmute ourselves. So, but hi, everybody. I think we're all going through tough times. So I'm looking forward to how Dr. Shapiro can just help us over this time and, teach us to sort of do a little bit more self-care, because I think many of us are so busy just trying to cope with work and what we're doing, and we're not doing enough of our own self-care. So thank you for this opportunity, Charles. I really
Yeah, thanks for
appreciate
thanks
and
for being
grateful.
part of this. Anyone else want to introduce themselves? Don't feel obligated. Good. A lot of our staff are on. Brenda, Diane, is there other people you were expecting to join that we can maybe reach out again?
Yep, I'm just helping Dr. Shapiro get back in, Charles.
Hi, Samantha.
Hi, Samantha. Oh.
Yes, she having a bit of difficulty as well.
Oh, no, there I am.
Oh, good.
Hi.
How are you doing?
Your timing is amazing. I just actually had 2 client visits, which I haven't had in so long. So the timing of just getting into my driveway and going, okay, some stress relief would be really nice, because it's a very different world out there right now. It's crazy.
Yeah. Who else is on this call that knows a lot of? I thought Jessica was on. She could have led us into some meditation to get us warmed up. Anyone else want to start the breathing exercises while we're waiting for Dr. Shapiro to take over? Oh, I see she's back on. There you go. I've already introduced you, and the floor is yours. I'm going to make you the co-host, and then you can share your screen.
Okay, I apologize. I will do the best I can, and hopefully I don't get frozen out. Okay, so thank you, Charles. I don't know what you said. I'm going to hope it was good.
Well, I just highlighted how we met in the cycling community way, and you're a very, very, strong rider.
Okay.
And
so you lied. I appreciate it. All right. So I had a whole itinerary. I still have a whole itinerary planned today. Hopefully I won't get frozen out. But so as a chiropractor, I treat a multitude of conditions, but in the last 3 months or so during this sort of stressful time of COVID, I've had lots of people ask me and lots of people tell me about the things that they are experiencing, either working from home or being on their feet all day if they are, like working on the front line in a hospital, things like that. And what I've done is I've divided the day into 3, basically morning, midday, and evening. So I'm going to go through some physical things that you can do during those 3 parts of the day to either help any low back pain or discomfort you might be having, or to prevent, to mitigate things that could happen if you don't take care of your spine properly. I'm also going to go over what I call the 5 pillars of good posture that we can all do when we are standing upright, whether we are working at a job that requires us to stand or whether we actually sit all day and if they're out and about doing you have to get up eventually. Then if we have time, I'm going to maybe go over like a little yoga sun salutation. If any of you have done yoga, I can show you a version of sun salutations that also are really great for the whole body. And I will go over my favorite exercise of all that I encourage all my patients to do is planking. So even if you have a regular exercise routine, most people incorporate core strength and planking into their exercise routine. But even if you do it, I'm just going to show you what I think is the proper way, and optimal, the most optimal way. So the focus today is on posture, but really from a chiropractic perspective, it's all about biomechanics. It's the way your body functions when you're either sitting, standing, moving, whatever. And unfortunately, for most people who are working from home, they are in a less than ideal ergonomic setting. A lot of people are lucky enough to work in an office where they have proper ergonomics in terms of where their computer's set up, in terms of how high their desk is, where their arms rest, that kind of thing. So that's sort of a whole different conversation. But when you are at home, you want to be able to optimize your ergonomics based on, you know, what's in front of you, whether it's your dining room table or whether it's, you know, your kid's school desk. And unfortunately, from all the sitting we're doing, what happens with bad posture is everything tends to shorten in the front and weaken in the back. So we suffer from weak trapezius muscles, weak glutes. We have short chest muscles. Our hip flexors, because we're sitting all day, shorten. So what we want to do is the opposite of that step. We want to open and lengthen the front of our bodies and strengthen the back. Now, like anything else, it's not just going to happen. It does require work. We weren't meant to be either sitting all day at a desk for 12 hours or standing all day. We're not supposed to be stagnant beings. So I'm going to show you some things that you can do during the day to actually help with that shortening of the front of your body. So the other issue with bad posture is most people, and I can't see everybody, but I'm assuming everybody's going to start sitting up straight, is it's not just, you know, aesthetically unpleasing, but it actually can cause digestive problems. If you're not sitting properly, everything's sort of squished in the front, you're not digesting properly. Bad posture can actually reduce your lung capacity by 30%. What happens if you're not getting enough oxygen? Well, truthfully, you're probably getting tired. You're not working at your greatest capacity. So, I mean, posture goes just beyond back pain, headaches, and migraines, which, you know, would seem obvious that if your posture is suffering, that your, you know, physical is suffering. And there was actually a study published, I guess 2 years ago in, it's called Neuroregulation Journal, if anyone wants to check it out. But what they did is they had 125 students, and older students, the mean age was about 23 and a half. And they had the students perform a math task, and it was sort of the same math task 2 different times with just a slight different change to it. And they had the students do the math test when they were sitting up straight, and they were giving them posture tips. And they had the students do the math test when they were like in a slouch position. And again, it was the same difficulty. And the students, when the students were sitting upright, they, you know, completed the task relatively easily. There was no issues with it. When they were in a slumped posture position, they complained that it was difficult, math was hard, they felt a little bit anxious about it. So just those little things change your, not just your physical, they change your insides, your neuroreceptors, your nervous system. They just make you function properly. So I'm going to talk about, I'm going to get into the morning, noon, and night things that we can do to improve our day. So aside from internet problems, I also have a dog that hopefully will behave himself while I'm getting on the ground. In the meantime, let me see if I'm going to talk about first the four pillars of good posture. Tell me if you can't hear me. Sorry, the 5 pillars of good posture. So even if you are, he's on the ground here. So even while standing up straight, I'm going to talk about the 5 things. I'm going to start from the top and work my way down. So when somebody says, oh, you have to have good posture. You have to have your neck straight. You have to tuck your chin and pull your shoulders back. There's little things you can do to engage yourself, to engage those muscles, those posture muscles, get them working to improve your posture. So most people are carrying their head forward. So the automatic response to that is, oh, lift your chin. But if I lift my chin, that doesn't really do anything to my neck. What you actually want to do is think about the back of your neck muscles and bring your chin in. So you want your ears over your shoulders. You almost want, I'm going to show you some chin tucking exercises, but for now, you just want to think about, instead of just lifting the chin up, you actually want to bring the chin in. So you're bringing your ears over your shoulders. That's the first thing you want to think about. The other thing, when people say, oh, posture, sit up, stand up straight, they think about, oh, bring your chest out, shoulders back. What you actually want to do is think about your sternum. Squeezing the shoulder blades together isn't actually what you want to achieve. You almost want to think about having like a glass of water on your chest, on your sternum, and lifting that glass up. So by doing that, you are automatically you're bringing your shoulders back and down just by lifting the chest. So our chin is tucked, we're thinking about the back of our neck, sternum is lifted like you have a glass of water on your sternum. The other thing you want to think about is your core. So core is everything. The core is what stabilizes you. It protects the low back. It helps you if you are standing and sitting all day. Now, you don't want to think about flexing your abs, crunching your abs. You literally just want to think about engaging them. So the more abdominal exercises you do, the more you're going to engage your core. So you just want to think about, almost like if you can poke yourself in the stomach, those muscles are engaged. So that's the third thing. The other thing is, because we are sitting all day, we tend to think good posture is putting our pelvis in an anterior position. That actually isn't what we want to do. We want to think about squeezing the glutes. So if you think about squeezing your glutes, you are actually bringing your pelvis into the right position. Again, you're engaging muscles that you may not be engaging all day. So when you are standing, when you are up and about, if you are, cooking or helping somebody with homework, those are things that you can think about. Now, the fifth thing, you're not going to be able to see my knees, but most people think most people have flexed knees because from sitting all day. You actually want to think about using your quad muscles, the front of your legs. Engaging your quad muscles will help straighten out the knees and give yourself, again, that base. You're using your quad muscles, you're using your glutes, you're using your abs, you're using your sternum, and you're using the back of your neck. So those are what I call the 5 pillars of good posture. Even if you can think about a few of them during the day, it can only help. And again, you're using muscles that you probably aren't using for most of the day. So those are good things to do when you're standing. And if your job is a job that requires you to stand all day, a couple of other things that you can think about to prevent low back pain, and again, put yourself in a more ideal biomechanical position, is think about sort of being more on the balls of the toes, like as opposed to on your heels. So a little forward on the balls of the toes, shift around a lot if you are standing in position all day, keeping your feet hip distance apart, just letting your arms hang by your side, and again, keeping that chin, the ears over the shoulder. Again, things to think about. You might not be able to do them all the time, but just to think about if you are standing a lot during the day. So let's pretend it's the morning. Let's see how Bob the dog behaves here. We'll do my best. So in the morning, when you wake up, so you got to give yourself, it doesn't take long, but give yourself that extra few minutes. So before you even turn on your phone or check your device, while you're lying in bed, or even, roll onto the floor. Sometimes some of these are easier if you actually get yourself onto the floor. You're just going to, hoping I'm not moving. So lying on your back, you can have your knees up, and you just want to rock your knees.
She's opening up some hips.
Yeah, opening up the hips, loosening up the low back. You do that. Another good one to do.
That's for the dog.
Really simple. You probably know them.
There was a dog here.
Bringing your knees to your chest. One at a time. You want to hold, 15, 20 seconds. That's the seconds. You can bring both knees to your chest and again, rock side to side and then towards your belly. Okay? And again, just get things moving in the morning. My other favorite thing to do first thing in the morning sort of comes from my yoga background is what we call cat-cow. So you want your hips, I don't know if anyone's actually doing this, but if you happen to have a mat at home or a carpet and you want to do it with me, do it with me. So you want your knees hip width apart and you want your hands shoulder width apart. So you don't want to be too wide, you don't want to be too narrow. And this is just simply flexing and extending of the low back. So on your inhale, you want to arch your low back up. You want to think about tucking your pelvis, dropping your head, and lifting up to the chest. That's an inhale. And on an exhale, you want to think about opening through your collarbone. Opening up through the collarbone, sending your tailbone back. That is an exhale. And again, you're engaging your abdomen. You want to feel like you're sort of using that lower belly that I talked about before. And same thing, on an inhale, lift up through the lower back, dropping the head, tuck the chin, relax the shoulders, so keep the shoulders pulled away from the ears, and then exhale, arching up, opening up the collarbone, pushing into your hand. So you can repeat that as many times as you want. It feels great. And again, it doesn't mean you have low back pain. It's just a great way of starting the day. If you happen to have a foam roller, I'm going to show you a couple other great chest opening things that you can do. So remember how I said everything is shortened in the front? You can actually use your foam roller to help open things up in the front. If you don't have a foam roller, you can use towels. Actually, if you have a really tight upper back, this might be a little too aggressive, but you can use rolled towels or a rolled sheet. So you want to get the foam roller underneath your shoulder blades. And if you can, you want to drop the head back. Just again, foam rollers just below my shoulder blades, so my chest is open, my shoulders are open, and it feels amazing. And you can just hold there. I mean, again, try and give yourself a couple minutes to at least feel the benefits of that. And again, these are things I like to do in the morning, but doesn't mean you only have to do them in the morning. What else did I want to show you? Oh, back to the yoga thing. So from your cat-cow poses, another good thing is if you've done yoga before, you'll know this is called child's pose, where you're just setting your seat onto your heels, reaching your arms out in front of you, and then just dropping your head down and breathing here. So again, that's great for the low back. It's great for the sides of your body, and it's great for the chest. And if you are so inclined and you have a little bit more flexibility, to wake up your morning. Okay, I'm going to go back to my makeshift desk, and we're going to talk about what I call the midday slump. Literally your slump. Okay, so while you're at your desk, without even getting up, so what I tell my patients to do, because really the majority of people are sitting all day, is to set an alarm on your phone. So whether it's every hour, every 2 hours, whatever's realistic for you, force yourself to take a break. Again, the more you're moving your body during the day, the more oxygen you're getting to your brain and the better you're going to function. So just sitting at your desk, you're going to set your alarm, you're going to stop what you're doing. You're going to sit up straight and you're just simply going to shoulder roll. This isn't brain surgery, but it's just a reminder, like, oh my gosh, like get things moving, stop what you're doing, take a break. So you want to roll your shoulders maybe 10 or 20 times back, 10 or 20 times forward. You can repeat it a couple times. Again, forces those back shoulder muscles, the back posture muscles to start working, to start firing. Another I'm going to show you a few exercises. So this is a great neck exercise that, again, it's not necessarily, it's sort of, it might seem counterintuitive to what I'm talking about in terms of opening up the front of the body, but it just feels really great in the back of the neck, especially if you suffer from stiff neck or headaches. So you're going to point your nose towards your underarm. Pick an underarm, pick a nose. With your elbow pointed forward, you're going to drop your head towards your underarm and just gently pull down, almost even just using gravity. You don't want to pull hard, but you want to breathe here, hold 10, 20 seconds, and then do the same thing on the other side. And again, it's using the back of the neck muscles, which you do need to improve your posture. Another great one you can do, one of the things actually I didn't mention for the people who actually have jobs who require standing all day, is one of the things that happens is a lot of people complain about like sciatic pain or pain going down the leg. It's often caused by your piriformis muscle, which can actually become irritated if you are having improper biomechanics and standing all day. So one of the things you can do for your piriformis muscle, I'm going to show you a standing and a sitting exercise. But while you're sitting in a chair, this chair is a little bit high, but obviously your desk chair is probably lower. You just want to cross one ankle over the other. Now, sometimes this is enough of a stretch. You'll feel a little stretch. I'm on my right side. I'm crossing my right ankle over my right leg. I feel the stretch in my right glute. If you're a little bit more flexible, you can actually, again, keeping your core long, lean forward a little bit. You can even push a little bit onto that thigh. You should feel a good stretch in that right glute. And again, you do the same thing on your other side. Again, this is just at your desk. You're not even getting up yet. And it shouldn't take more than a couple minutes. Another great thing to do just sitting at your desk is just drop yourself forward. So just leaning forward, drop your head, roll yourself up on an inhale, and then go forward again. Great exercise for the low back. And again, gets things moving. My favorite midday stretch is stretching out your pectoral muscles, your chest muscles, okay? So this is gonna require, you've got two exercises that are gonna require you to get out of your chair. Again, I think I'm giving you like 5 things here, 20 to 30 seconds each, and then you go back to work. So pec stretch. So the pec is the front of your chest. What you wanna do is with your arm at 90 degrees, you wanna go against a wall or a door frame, and you want to have your elbow at 90 degrees, your forearm at 90 degrees, and you're just going to pull your chest forward. So I'm slightly jutting my shoulder forward, and I feel that stretch across my chest. And again, opening up the chest muscles because they're shortened. So you're going to hold here, again, 20 to 30 seconds. This is for your pec major muscle. You actually have 2 pectoral muscles. To get your pec minor muscle, which is actually a little bit deeper, you just want to raise your elbow a few degrees and do the same thing. You're changing the angle of your arm, and it gets into a bit of a deeper chest stretch. You'll also feel a little bit in the shoulder. You don't want to pull too hard. Obviously, you don't want to create a new injury, but that's great for opening up the chest. And the last thing I'm going to give you for a midday suggestion, equally as important as stretching out the chest muscle, is stretching out the hip flexors. So if anyone's a runner, you'll know a runner stretch. Charles can show you later if he's such flyers. But with a runner stretch, so this is a little bit of a more advanced version, but you can bring your back knee down. Now the key to this is to keeping everything at 90 degrees. So you don't want your knee too far forward over your toe. You want everything kind of square. With your hips forward, try to keep your toe down if you can. And again, on my right side, you want to think about tilting your tailbone, and you should feel a really nice stretch in the front of your leg. Very important, again, as we sit, that angle closes and shortens. A little bit more advanced, or if you're flexible, or if you do this on a regular basis, straighten out the back leg. It's the same thing. You don't want your knee over your ankle. You want everything nice and square, hips square, and think about dropping that right hip down a little bit. It's a great stretch for the front of the leg. Okay, those are your few little things that you can do in the middle of the day. to get things moving. And I'm a little bit out of breath, so I know I'm getting like good oxygenation to my brain and actually feel energized. Okay, now 3 things that you can do before you go to bed. I may or may not be able to demo all of them, but one is sort of self-explanatory. So a lot of people complain about back pain. To me, obviously, it's my job. But they're also complaining about stress and not being able to fall asleep, mind racing, that kind of thing. So I'm going to tell you about a few different exercises that not only help with low back and joint pain, but actually help settle the nervous system. So I need a wall. So my favorite pre-bed move is simply your legs are going to go up against the wall. So I have to have flexible hips, but I can get my feet right against the wall. Let my breath, open, you can shut. If you can't get your palm, okay? So this leg against the wall is a great way to actually alleviate low back pain and actually help settle the nervous system. And you can hold it from 1 to 2 minutes up to 15 minutes. And you can do it every day. I challenge you to try that for a week straight and see how you feel. Before you go to bed. It's a great nervous system exercise. And the other thing I'm going to show you pre-bed is in yoga. We call it Happy Baby, which may or may not make sense after I demo it. So again, Happy Baby posture is great for the low back and again, settling the nervous system. And these sort of stretching positions that you do before bed, I like to try and hold them a little bit longer. It gives you a chance to breathe, settle down, calm your mind. And again, everything will sort of shut down in a hopefully easier way that will allow you to have a better sleep. And again, increase productivity. Happy Baby pose. You're lying on your back. You can do it in your bed. Or you can do it on the floor. Towards your elbows, okay? And looking straight up, relaxing the shoulder, I actually hold the insides of my feet and I pull my knees towards my underarm. And again, you can hold that, and you want to build up to it, but you can hold that 2 to 5 minutes, and that helps, again, it feels great on the low back, great on the hips, and it does help settle the nervous system. The one other thing I want to show you in terms of a great stretch is, remember I talked about for people who are standing all day, that they can aggravate their piriformis muscle. And the piriformis muscle can squish on the sciatic nerve, which causes some pain down the legs. You might hear people complain they have sciatica. It can often come from the piriformis. So just like that seated stretch where I had your ankle crossed over your knee, you can do the same thing on your back. And it's actually your back. So again, you're crossing your knee, and you're going to try and grab behind the thigh. You pull that down towards the back. And you should feel a nice deep stretch in the leg that's crossed in that position. And you want to do the same thing on the other side. The ankle over the knee, pull the knee in towards the belly, and if you have tightness in the glutes and the hips, that's going to feel really good. And again, you want to hold these ideally anywhere between 15 and 30 seconds. Ideally, also you want to repeat the stretch if you can, and build up to how long you can hold it and how deep you can go. So I hope that I didn't freeze, and I hope that those sort of 3 sections of the day made sense to you and are beneficial. I still have time, Charles, to do some other things.
You do. I have a few questions. And you showed me stretches I've never seen, which is
Okay.
always great. So
Okay.
thank you for doing that. I use the roller a lot.
Okay, good.
That's mostly what I use before like a workout. Or actually every day I roll no matter what. Mostly on my back and then on my sides, like my IT bands, and then on my quads. So I am at a standing desk, right? Like I have
awesome.
right, and then I have an activity mat there.
Fantastic.
Now I stand most of the day except for lunch, because I find when I sit, I get tightness right away.
Everywhere.
So, but then I've heard standing desks. People say, "Oh, it's not so good. You shouldn't stand all day." What do you say about that?
So we shouldn't be doing anything all day for like 8 to 12 hours. It should definitely be, you don't want to be standing all day, and you definitely don't want to be sitting all day. But if I had to pick the worst of the two evils, it would definitely be sitting. Like, they're calling sitting the new smoking. Like it's very bad for us. So from a chiropractic perspective, the problem with standing all day or first nervous system. Okay, I can go back, Diane. You want to make sure your base, when I say base, I mean your feet. So from a chiropractic perspective, when my patients come in and I look at their posture, I usually start with the feet and with the way they walk. So if you have feet that are doing something wonky, like if you pronate, if you supinate, if you toe out, those kind of things, and you're standing on that improper base all day, that's not a good thing. So I'm not such a big orthotic pusher, but I am obviously an advocate for good posture and the things that make you biomechanically optimal. So starting from the base, if you have like wonky feet or that you don't even know you have, then standing all day is not going to be the best thing for you. So, obviously, ideally, you want to get an assessment from a chiropractor. If you're worried about just your feet, you can get an assessment from a podiatrist. But as a chiropractor, so I start with the feet, and then I look at the rest of you. I check the level of your hips. I check the level of your shoulder. I look for curves in the spine. Like all those things could ultimately make standing all day difficult. So, but certainly the postural things that I mentioned would probably help you.
Is there a recommendation to sort of sit down for every hour or stand and sit, mix it up? Like I have this activity mat and I walk around with my wireless headset, so I'm not really staying in the same position. And but I find it very comfortable to stand as long as it's soft on your feet.
Yeah, you're doing it absolutely right. Like that is, you have the ideal setup given the nature of your job. That is obviously on a computer where you need to be, focused.
Right.
So one of my patients who's a radiologist and his office he's working from home. His office is all blacked out, but he's got a treadmill desk. So he's got a dictation thing, and while he's looking at the films, he can dictate what he's finding. I'm like,
that's
brilliant.
amazing.
Like brilliant. Yeah. So your next step could be a treadmill desk. But I don't know
or a bike.
Or a bike. Yeah. But yeah, so you don't want to be doing anything for 8 to 12 hours a day. So certainly even though you're standing and walking around, stretch out your hip flexors, lie on your back, stretch out your low back, do some jumping jacks, you don't want to be stagnant all day.
Right.
Sorry. So Diane, you asked me, lost some audio with legs up against the wall. Talk us through what you need to do. Sure. So, so with the legs up against the wall pose, what I suggested was to try to get your seat as close to the wall as possible with your legs up. If you can't get your seat against the wall, it doesn't matter. Your seat can be against the wall, and if that's uncomfortable, put a towel or a pillow underneath your hips. And what I did say was that's a great position to build up to. Like even if you can hold it for like 15 minutes, it really, again, calms the nervous system, settles you down before bed. Especially if you're having problems like calming your mind and getting a good night's sleep. The legs up against the wall, you can keep your legs, I don't know if you heard, you keep your legs together, you can keep your legs apart, whatever kind of feels comfortable. You're not gonna be able to hold it for 10 minutes your first time, but you can definitely build up to it. Oh, you're welcome. The other thing, aside from yoga, I was speaking to one of the panelists who's been doing some yoga videos, which is a great thing to do. But is also, you want to strengthen the back muscles. Now, I don't know about you, but I haven't been to like a gym for 3 or 4 months, but I have lots of little home equipment, including bands, what we call mini bands. There's tons of stuff that you can do with this really simple exercise. If you don't have them, you can get them on Amazon. You can't get weights. Weights are hard to get. The bands you can still get. And there's great exercises that you can do, really simple, that help strengthen the back of the leg, the back of the shoulders, the back of the arms, just your back in general. So again, you don't need a lot of equipment to work on strengthening your posture muscles. You also don't need a lot of time. So these are called bands or mini bands, and they're easy to find. Stretches for your hip flexors. Okay. So I did go over one hip flexor exercise, and I will certainly do it again because it's a good repeat, and if anyone wants to try it with me. So the best hip flexor, actually, you know what? I'm going to show you 2. So the one that I showed you was the standing one, where you are keeping everything square and jutting your hip forward, or you can keep your knee on the ground and jut your hip forward, and that stretches out the front of the leg. So I'll show you one other one. This is another one of mine, but this actually, I didn't show this for the middle of the day because then it requires lying on the ground, which maybe you do or maybe you don't. So lying on your side, you're going to grab your ankle.
Can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yep. I know that stretch though. It's a good one.
Show it to you and then I'm going to talk about it.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, so what I was doing when I grabbed my ankle, same thing, jutting the hip forward of the foot that you're grabbing. So that is a great hip flexor stretch. In terms of a tear in your hip, I see that Janet has mentioned. There are other things that you can do in terms of like acupuncture and other therapies to help with that tear. Help the tear heal, but in terms of the hip flexor stretches, those are 2 of my favorite, the standing and the side lying. Okay, sorry about the volume. Any other questions about that? Okay, so one of the things I do, I was telling some of the panelists, is my side job is I've been teaching Ashtanga yoga for the last like 15 years. And a sun salutation, which is usually the base of a yoga practice, is, and there's a million variations of them. I thought I would just show you one variation of a sun salutation and sort of some options if you don't want to do a full sun salutation. So if anyone who's done yoga knows what I'm talking about, anyone who hasn't, enjoy. So I'm not going to talk because you may not be able to hear me. But here is a variation of a sun salutation, and then actually maybe when I'm done, if you have any questions about it, you can let me know. Okay. And what yoga does that other sort of exercises and stretching doesn't is it's breath-led movement. You're actually using your breath while you're moving, which is a huge game changer in terms of focusing on your breathing and the movement of your body as opposed to thinking about other things. So, sun salutation. You can also come to your knees and breathe. And if you can, you could fold all the way forward. You're going to inhale, lengthen through your chest. You exhale, we're going to go into a plank position. So for the advanced version, you go into what we call chaturanga plank. For non-advanced, you can just come down to your knees and squeeze your elbows in. Great for your opening is a half cobra. So you're lifting engage into the back. If you have the flexibility, you can do a full cobra, full upward dog. This is an inhale here, and then you want to exhale, go into a downward dog. I like to hold the downward dog for 5 breaths, but for the sake of time, you're going to inhale, come forward, exhale, fold back down, inhale all the way up, and exhale. So it's just like a mini sun salutation lesson. I thought it would be beneficial. And again, there's tons of variations on a sun salutation that help open up the hips, open up the hip flexors, and again, use the core. Use the core, opening up the back. That's another reason that I love yoga, is because it really focuses on opening up the chest and using the back muscles. One thing I didn't show you, because it's like a little bit more advanced, is there's lots of back bendy things that you can do. I showed you with the foam roller. It's a version of a back bend, but in yoga, we do all kinds of variations of the back bend, which is, again, great for posture and a great thing to do if you are looking for an activity in your free time that doesn't involve like the 3 pillars of the day that I talked about. So, all right. Any other questions related to fitness, stretching, chiropractic, biomechanics?
This has been really, really terrific.
Sorry about the technical issues at the beginning.
Yeah, it was a little hiccup at the start, but I think everyone was really invited to a treat this afternoon, and I was doing a lot of the stretches as you were guiding me, so really appreciate that. You know, Dr. Shapiro can be reached. We're going to send out her contact info. I showed you the, I'll just put it up again so we can show everyone your info. This is her webpage. And you've got her phone number there. Presumably that phone number is working during COVID.
Yeah, that's my number. You can, and to be honest, if anyone is interested, I don't know if you're not even local in Toronto, I am. This is my passion. I am happy to talk to anybody, offer any advice on the phone or a private Zoom call. You know, by all means, it's my pleasure. If you have any questions, please feel free to text or call me.
Yeah. So I really want to thank you, Jody, for doing this for us. It was really, really fun, and I think Brenda, maybe you can tell us. I know it's been recorded. I don't know what the plan is with that, but I presumably if there's a bigger audience that this can go to as well.
Yeah, for sure. So we've already had requests from some of our participants to share the recording. So they'll be able, I mean, you know, people like myself, you know, I would love to be able to go back and look at this and do some of those when I have more space outside of my little office. So yes, our plan is to make the recording available. We'll send out your contact information and we'll get it out to as many people as we can.